Two familiar names in Florida politics will not be a part of the governor's race. We told you back in April that Democrat Patrick Murphy was considering joining the race with the possible running mate of David Jolly, who is a registered Republican. Since they're from different parties, they would have to run as an independent. It would have been the first bipartisan gubernatorial ticket in Florida. Both men served in the U.S. House of Representatives. Instead of running, Murphy is announcing today that he's endorsing Democrat Gwen Graham for governor. Graham served one term in the House of Representatives. Her father is former Governor Bob Graham. Gwen Graham faces a crowded field for the Democratic nomination. Also running are Tallahassee Mayor Andrew Gillum, former Miami Beach Mayor Philip Levine, entrepreneur Chris King, and real estate mogul Jeff Green. Running for the Republican nomination are Florida Agricultural Commissioner Adam Putnam and Representative Ron DeSantis.